This is Python's Paradise. This is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena, straight out of Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada, but rocking a beautiful Toronto background behind me because I consider Toronto my true home, That is to me where I really want to be. But right now, where I really want to be is talking to my guest today. Here on today is March 26th, 2024, getting into that spring season. It's getting near close. And I bet my guest is getting into the spring season as well. Folks, he was in a film that we'll be celebrating today called Greta. And he's also been in other things I've seen, like Ghost Town with Ricky Gervais. And I'm so happy to get him on here today. Folks, we have the awesome Jeff Hiller. How do you do, Jeff?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I love your background. I know people hear this audio or won't see it, but anybody sees the video, yeah, I like that. Is that like is it just me that you're into the arts and stuff like this outside acting?
Yeah. No, I guess I am into the arts. I am. Yeah. I like art. I like this is just, I'm in my living room, so this is just like the
Well, you
art that
gotta
I
you
walk up.
look, if I have my living room showing behind me, you wouldn't call it art. You could call it catastrophe. So that actually looks pretty cool, So there
Oh,
you
well,
go.
good. Good. I wouldn't call it art. I would call the cops.
There you go. There you go. There you go. Before we get into Greta and some of your other films, I would like to get your background and what led you to get into the film business.
Well, I started doing improv comedy at a place
Hmm.
called the Upright Citizens Brigade, and then that led to doing theater, and then theater led to doing guest spots on TV, and then every once in a while you get a movie too. You just you'll take anything.
Well, do you you mentioned improv, I remember Weird Al Yankovic said that in an interview that he could not do improv, but he admires comedians who can do it. Just pull that off on the fly. So, who were some of your favorite comedians growing up? Who inspired you?
Well, I watched a lot of like sitcoms,
Hmm.
female-led sitcoms.
Ah, nice.
I was a kid in the 80s, so I liked, the Golden Girls and
Did
uh
you have a favorite Golden
Women.
Girl?
Oh, oof, I don't know. That's a little like picking your favorite child, but I think at the end of the day, it's always about B. Arthur, isn't it?
You know what? I like B. Arthur as well. I love that dry sarcasm that
Yeah.
she delivers,
Yeah.
I know a lot of people like Betty White, and I don't blame them, but to me, yeah, B. Arthur,
I
like
love Betty White too, and Rue McClanahan, and Estelle Getty. There's not a one I don't
I
love.
do too. I agree, but I have to say the one who made me laugh the most was B. Arthur.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, just that dry sense of humor, like she's in on the joke, but she's going on. She is awesome. Good choice. Female leg comedian. You know what? Kind of reminds me of a comment that and I'm trying to beat a dead horse with this, but because I've mentioned it before, but I remember Jerry Lewis had once said that women cannot be funny, and I
Oof.
totally disagree. You know,
Yeah,
anybody who look, Lucille Ball, even
sure.
modern. Look at Kate McKinnon. How can you hold a straight face watching Kate McKinnon? And
Exactly.
you mentioned, of course, in the start, my Emma Stone shirt. I think Emma Stone is hilarious.
I do too. I do too.
Yeah, like Emma Stone is just even her serious roles for some I can laugh at her, and I think she's awesome. Uh, do you have a favorite female comedian?
I love Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. I mean, this is Gilda Radner right here, who's
Oh,
um,
nice.
someone who I love. I love there's uh, I love this stand-up named Naomi Ekperigin. I love I I it would be easier for me to list the male comedians I love than the female comedians I love.
Well, you know what?
I tend to, because really comedy is just subjective, right? So
Mhm.
so people like Jerry Lewis can say no woman can be funny, but really what he's saying is that the thing that appeals to him is slapstick comedy, which is what he does. And so he hasn't seen a woman do slapstick comedy, which I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with slapstick comedy. I'm saying there's something wrong with his presumption that women can't be funny. It's just whatever. They're not funny to you, but you're not funny to a lot of other people, Jerry Lewis. So I know is he
You know
dead?
what?
I
I
think he's
think I
dead.
think I think women are funny, and that's probably why I'm still single. 'Cause I think women are funny.
I'm not touching that. I don't know what that means, but okay.
Uh, you mentioned Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. I love the movie Sisters. I love that
Sure.
movie.
Me
Yeah, I
too.
got that here on Blu-ray as well. Those two were great together. And of course, they were in Mean Girls. I love Mean Girls.
Sure. Yeah, the
Yeah,
best.
yeah,
Best.
love Mean Girls. Um, but you mentioned who are your favorite male comedians?
Hmm. Um, I like a British comic named Simon Amstell. I think he's really great. Um, I like, um, I like Steve Martin and Martin Short. I
Oh,
like them.
Steve Martin's great. Do you see The
Yeah.
Jerk?
Oh yeah, of
I love The
course.
Jerk. I've done a
Yeah.
I've done an interview from The Jerk.
Oh yeah.
Actually, I've done a couple interviews from The Jerk.
Oh, that's so cool.
Oh
So
yeah,
what
no.
what what is this podcast? You pick movies you like and then just try and find an actor and then interview them about that movie?
Variety,
Hmm.
but a lot of times, yeah, I like to celebrate certain movies I like
Hmm.
and and uh and get the perspective of the person in it and celebrate the movie itself. I've been doing the podcast since 2015, so I've done over
Ah.
800
Oh
and
my
I got
gosh.
yeah. Oh
That's
yeah.
wild.
Yeah. And I know when I reached out to you and I mentioned Greta and you said you didn't know whether Greta was worthy of a 5-year anniversary, but and I get why you say that because it wasn't high in the zeitgeist of people. We didn't get Greta here in our city. I was in Toronto for a week. I think that was when I went to the Toronto Comic Con. And I had a night where, well, it wasn't going on at night, so there was a theater, and I looked at what was playing there, and Greta was one of the movies. I was like, awesome. We didn't get that. I wanted to see it because I always liked Chloe Grace Moretz ever since Kick-Ass, and I love it, Isabelle Huber. So I was like, I'm gonna go see this. So I went to that theater and I saw Greta. So Greta always makes me think about that trip to Toronto. Plus, it was in 2017, like I hadn't been outside New Brunswick. So because I'm going to be 52 this year, so I hadn't been outside New Brunswick until 2017 when actress
Huh.
Lisa Langlois invited me to assist her at a horror film convention in Toronto.
Oh wow.
And she got me all skilled on using the subways and the streetcars and shuttle buses there because we don't have those here.
Uh-huh.
And watching Greta, you got subways all through it. And I was like, um, I would just totally, when I watched this, even the other day watching it in preparation for this, it was like I was just reminded of that Toronto trip from
Huh,
watching this movie. So
that's so cool.
yeah,
I
yeah.
guess that's the power of movies, right? They take you to the place, not just they take you to the place that their story they're telling you about, but yeah, they also, that's really interesting because they also take you to the place that you were in when you saw that movie. That's really interesting.
Oh yeah. So I thought Greta was interesting, combining Chloe Grace Moretz and Isabelle Huppert uh, in a movie together, which I thought was interesting casting there. And of course, you working at the restaurant. Now,
Yeah.
are you still keeping Chloe employed there, or did you have to fire her?
I think she gets fired in the movie, actually. She does because we filmed this. The scene didn't make it into the movie, I don't think. But yeah, yeah. I filmed the scene where I fired her. Well, I
So
was sort of sniffly standing there, and a different actor fired her.
yeah, but I mean, after she was in Kick-Ass and played the vampire girl and let me
Let the
in,
right
I mean,
man, yeah.
do you dare fire her? You little
Only when the script demands it.
yeah, I enjoyed this movie and it's got a lot of real creepy. Speaking of the restaurant scene, like when she looks out the window and she sees Isabel out there, and just that
Mm,
jump scare,
yeah.
there's some great atmosphere in this movie. Was that shot at a location or was that shot on was that a set?
That the restaurant
Yeah.
was a location, but it was shot in Dublin, Ireland, even though it takes place in New York City, because the director, Neil Jordan, is Irish. So they flew me and one other actor over from New York to Dublin to film a movie about New York. Holly weird.
Ollie Weird. Neil Jordan is an interesting director. I've seen a number of his films. Talk about
Hmm.
working with him.
Um, you know, it was great. I wasn't a lead role in this, so it was basically like go stand over there, and I did. We didn't like sit and have really in-depth conversations about the character or anything. But it was really interesting. I really liked seeing how he played a lot, I thought, with interesting angles in the movie, like setting the camera up in a way that made you feel just a little bit off, a little askew, since it was a thriller, and I thought that was really interesting.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. No, this was an interesting choice for a film for him too. And no, I had a lot of fun with it. And you, even though your part wasn't huge, you did bring your own flair to it, like how much of the stuff you did in that movie did you improvise? Because I mean, like like the way
Hmm.
you use your body and stuff like this and posture yourself while you're gesturing to her and stuff like that and like trying to get a point across to her that you're the obviously the person she works with that she doesn't like working with.
Well, that's true. You know, it's funny. I remember being on set and thinking, "Oh, he doesn't like what I'm doing." Neil Jordan, the director, because I was. I remember he came to me and said, "It's too big. Make it smaller," which is a note I've gotten before, and so. I didn't improvise much. I tried to be really realistic, but then when I saw it, I was like, it is big, and that was me toning it down. What?
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I'll be honest, I like what I saw, and
Oh, well,
I thought,
good.
well, it made you stand out. And that's well, it's a good thing.
Yeah,
Obviously,
yeah.
I'm reaching out to you, so there you go.
That's right.
Yeah, there you go. And of course, you get to work with Chloe Grace Moretz. I've been a I wasn't a big fan of the Amityville remake, but I didn't really take she wasn't really on my radar until she did Kick-Ass.
Mm.
And it's kind of funny, she went from I guess the thing with Kick-Ass, she was just this little tight girl that was killing all these bad guys. And I was just sitting back in my seat thinking, shit.
Yeah.
you know
Yeah.
and now she's like she turned into a stunning young lady. And now she's gone from kicking ass to waitressing in this restaurant. and
How the
uh,
mighty have fallen.
yeah, I like Chloe. I'm interested to see what else she does.
Mhm.
Talk about working with her.
Um, yeah, it's great. She was really busy at the time. These are bad stories, and I apologize, Greg.
Hmm.
But I think like when you're my level of actor, you're on set and you are you know, you shut up, you stand there when they say move, you move.
Hmm.
So it wasn't like I was like talking a lot with her. She was I'm sure reading scripts and planning things for the next day and the next 6 months and blah blah blah. But I thought she was like a really talented actor, and I thought she really was able to um it's always fun to be on set and just see someone being them and then changing and being their character. And I thought she was really um, great at turning it on because like that character is very scared and timid and worried and wounded and injured. And as a human being, she doesn't seem that way at all. She seems, she's a movie star, so she's confident. You know, she seemed like a really chill, laid back person who was checking her phone and laughing about whatever happened last night. So that was really cool to see her do that, to change from
Hmm.
this wounded person to her natural state.
Well, speaking of change, of course, in the restaurant scene, you get this great moment where Isabelle Huppert flips out. Um, my friend Lisa worked with her in a Claude Chabrol movie
Hmm.
back in the late 70s. So, and I think first really she hit my radar when she did I Heart Huckabees,
Mm. Hmm.
so with David O. Russell. So seeing her in this she's always been an interesting presence. But here she is in the restaurant scene flipping out. And of course, you're in that scene. Talk about witnessing that. That must have been interesting seeing her uh, pull that performance off.
Yeah, she was really cool. She uh we like had to meet with stunt coordinators because I had to restrain her. And so the stunt man who was Irish was, saying like to grab her by the shoulders and push her back, but don't, like kind of act the pushing, don't really push her. And he was like, she's a legend, right? So don't kill her. And I was like, I don't want to kill her. I know she's a legend. I know she's a legend. And then when she did it, she was like there was no worry about breaking her. She was, if anything, I was like, oh my God, she might break me. She's because I'm 6'5" and over 200 pounds, and she's little, and but she was strong and mighty and like I mean, it was like, ooh, she was like a lion. It was really it was cool, but it was also scary because I was like, ah, I'm doing stunts. I'm a comedian. But some of the other people who were pretending to be patrons in the restaurant were actual stunt people, and they helped and did all sorts of stuff to make it look really you know, hardcore.
I know you didn't have much downtime with Chloe, and I probably would imagine that'd been the same with Isabel as well. But did you get to talk to her on any downtime in this?
Some we talked a little bit. She was wearing these like really high heels, and I like fashion. And I said, "Oh my God, those heels are gorgeous." But I also noticed that she kept just taking one foot out and putting the other foot. So one foot was in the heel and one foot was on the floor. And I was like, "Oh, are you doing something to?" I thought maybe she was like trying to line up for the camera or
Mhm.
something. And she was like, "No, it's just they're beautiful shoes, but they hurt my feet. They hurt my feet, but only the right foot." So I know that's a pretty lame story, but that was my interaction with
Actually,
her.
I like that. It's something small, but something nice and detailed, you know?
Yeah, I just thought it was kind of funny to see this like truly because like I've been watching her forever and that movie The Piano Teacher and
Hmm.
Elle and all that like all of these like hard scary, like dark films, and to just see her be, and this character was super dark, but
Oh
to see
yeah.
her just be like, My feet hurt. Hmm, these shoes are beautiful, but my feet." I don't know. It was really nice to see to see this like intimidating actor just be like, "Oh, gotta take
Yeah.
a load off." You know what I'm saying?
You had a really good supporting cast in this too, you know, like Stephen Rea, of course, is a veteran in Neil Jordan movies. Colin Feore, who was, of course, in Bad Cop. I wish
Yeah.
there was a little more of him in this movie, you know, but nonetheless. And Maika Monroe, I really liked as Chloe's friend, who I like the fact that they did more with her than just have her be Chloe's friend in this movie, you know, because
Hmm.
that could have been just your standard part. And I like the fact that she really got to do some stuff in this movie to elevate her, you know.
She's
But
really the hero in the end, isn't she? Am I remembering
yeah.
that right?
Well, do you
Oh,
have a
no
favorite
spoilers.
scene in this movie?
Um, that I did or that I
Any
watched.
scene, any scene.
I liked I liked the scene where it's funny because I use every morning I use a little dropper of liquid stevia to put into my iced coffee, and my
Uh-huh.
husband and I always to this day are always like, Greta, Greta, because she put that the little dropper of whatever making her go to sleep into her tea. And so
Yeah.
it always reminds me of that. So I liked that scene, but I especially liked the scene where she was dancing around after she had kidnapped her and she was like in her stocking feet dancing around. I just thought that was so silly and I don't know, bonkers in a way that I really liked it.
You know what? It's interesting you would bring that up because that is a scene that stands out to me where she's committing a murder at some point and the person is trying to lash out at her and she at just graceful ease is like balleting out of the way and you see her feet. I think that was amazing, you know, and
Yeah.
I love that sequence. I like the double dream sequence too, where it's playing that song where Chloe's coming home there on the bike and you hear that song playing and she gets back to the apartment, something happens, tragic, and then she wakes up and you hear that same music again,
Mm.
but it ends up being a double dream sequence.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I also love the whole thing about uh, the piano and what's behind the piano, you know, and
Right.
yeah, and Chloe put in a very bad position there as well, where there ends up being some holes in the wall that she she's she's trying to avoid and can't get anywhere to do it. But but nonetheless, yeah, I had fun with this movie and yeah, I enjoyed seeing that in Toronto. Did you go to the premiere of it?
No, I didn't because it was in Europe and I was here. Well,
Point taken. Yep. Point taken. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think I, I think yeah, if I had like paid for my own travel to go there, I could have gone, but I didn't. I didn't.
Mhm.
I couldn't do that at the time.
Yeah. Have you seen Chloe or Isabel since, or was that a one and done there?
That was a one and done. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah.
Well, well, you have mentioned, of course, earlier comedians, and of course, you were another film that I had seen as well called Ghost Town. Ricky Gervais,
Hmm.
directed by David Coep, a terrific director. Ricky Gervais, I gotta say, you got a lot of good. You get Kristen Wiig, of course, in this as well. Speaking of comedians, but
Yeah.
because you play the naked ghost,
Yep.
was that
Whether
easy
you
or
like
hard
it
to
or not.
play?
Was
Huh?
that easy to play? Um, I guess it was easy to prepare, you know. Just have to take off your clothes. Yeah, it was scary. You know, we'd be filming on Fifth Avenue in the middle of Manhattan, and I'd be in a little flesh-colored thong. So it's kind of terrifying for myself and for anyone who was watching.
Well, one of the things I loved about Ricky Gervais is when he was on the Golden Globes and he just came right out and said exactly what was on his mind. He says, "This is my last time." And yeah, did you see that?
Yes.
Oh, I thought that was gold. I thought that was such gold, you know? It
Yeah.
reminded me so much. I could see George Carlin doing something like that back in the day, you know?
Hmm.
Yep, I could see it. And Ricky Gervais, like I've always liked him, but my respect for him just elevated seeing this. I was like, now this is a host.
Yeah, it was funny. It was really funny.
Talk about working with him.
Um, it was great. He was sort of exactly like you would expect him to be. He was kind of like he was on the Globes, where he was just like taking the piss out of people and I mean not he wasn't cruel or anything like that.
No.
He was really funny and uh you know, he I was on set in like a G-string. So
Yeah.
he was often like, "Good boy, this guy," you know. He gave me a lot of flack for the fact that I was had my butt out. He made fun of me quite a bit, but it was all really funny, and you know, I was just as I disliked it just as much as he did that I was naked on set.
Well, being grilled by a comedian like that is a badge of honor. So hey,
Absolutely, absolutely.
yeah. But I have a lot of respect for him, especially after seeing him do this. And another film, of course, that you've done that I have seen that I thought was a very different role for Harrison Ford. Morning Glory with Rachel McAdams. And you had Diane Keaton in this as well. Like you were
Yeah.
in very good company in this movie. Jeff Goldblum, like you got
Yeah,
to
it
look
was,
back on this with pride.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, totally. My role was I shot for about a week, but my role is like nothing. But I mean, because I was at the beginning of the movie before the movie takes place, so that's where you cut, you know. But I did do the read through and I got to meet all of those people, and it was very thrilling to meet all of these like iconic stars. And then I worked with Rachel McAdams, and I really, really liked working with her. She was so nice and so funny and so warm. I really liked her. Um, yeah, that was
I
fun.
first took notice of her in Mean Girls, where she was Regina George, and
Yeah.
it's interesting how far she's come, you know.
Yeah.
And what's interesting in Mean Girls, we've seen that role in 100 different movies, but yet she made it look like it was brand new.
Hmm.
That she, like
Hmm.
she, yeah, because you remember Regina,
Right.
you
Right.
know, and she elevated that to the point where now she's doing like Sherlock Holmes, Spotlight, and Morning Glory. And last year, um, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, you
Oh,
know?
she was so good in that. She was so good in that. I loved her in that movie.
Yeah, I saw that in the theater. Always loved seeing Rachel, so I'm glad you had that moment. Were you intimidated at all? Well, I guess you mentioned you were, but how intimidating was it to meet somebody like Harrison Ford or Diane Keaton? Because that's
I know. Uh, Harrison Ford was very, I mean, it was intimidating. I was very much like, oh, I shouldn't be here. But Harrison Ford was very just like, I'm just gonna, excuse me, let me just sit down, like as if he weren't, whatever. And Diane Keaton came in and was very much like, uh, you know, I think she like dropped her bag and then things fell out and she was like, I'm a mess, I'm a mess. And uh, was very, you kind of saw, oh yeah, you're like a brilliant, you know, you are a star. We all want to watch you. But really the person that I was like blown away by, I mean, at a table read of a script, I was blown away by Jeff Goldblum. I thought he was so weird, but in a perfectly smart way and funny and interesting. And he also was playing a role that was, sort of a role we've seen 1,000 times. And he just made it so unique. And so I loved watching him uh, act.
a lot of people. I bet you the birds, when they're perched, love watching him and tilt their head in peculiarity. Jeff Goldblum.
Probably.
We know flies don't look at him the same anymore. That's for sure.
I mean, because of him, I don't look at flies the same anymore. It's true.
There you go. There you go. There you go. So what projects have you got coming up? What are you working on now?
I'm on a TV show.
Mhm.
You don't do TV, huh? You're more just a
You
movies.
want me to
So,
tell you something?
yeah.
My TV's set up to watch my Blu-rays, so I don't really follow what's going on
Ah,
TV.
I love
Um,
it.
it's just um I've never set it up because I work two cleaning jobs. That's what I do. Like I
Ah,
do this for fun, I
right, right,
enjoy
right.
doing this. But I work as a cleaner, so when I'm not here, I'm doing that, so
Sure,
my uh TV watching is very limited. So
sure.
but I have interviewed people from TV, but mostly from like I had David. Uh,
Mhm.
I'm blanking on. They played Squiggy in Laverne and Shirley. You
Oh
know,
yeah. Oh my God, I love him.
yeah. I had him. I had him on here, and but like I was born in the early '70s, so I remember watching stuff like All's in the Family, Happy Days, Laverne and Shirley, The Brady
Okay.
Bunch. In the '80s, I loved Married with Children and Night Court.
Hmm.
I don't remember a lot that I watched the '90s. Maybe the Nanny I watched, but
Oh, love the nanny.
his Fran Drescher is just cool. in all
I mean,
sorts of ways.
I I randomly did just meet Fran Drescher because we were in America. We were on a strike, on an actors strike, and she's the president of the Actors Union, the Screen
Hmm.
Actors Union. And it's so random, but I happened to meet her. She seemed nice.
Did she do the laugh?
She sounds like the nanny, just like turned down just the tiniest bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, she always had that fashion, you know.
Yeah.
I really liked her, the small scene you see her in, and this is Spinal Tap.
Oh my God, she's classic in that. Classic.
Yeah, because she's not playing off humor, and it really shows that, you know, she can do drama if she needs to. Of course, that's a comedy, but she was playing a serious part in that. So
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah. So, but nonetheless, talk about this show that you're working on. You know, you're allowed to promote that on here.
It's a show on HBO. It's
Hmm.
called Somebody Somewhere, and it's season 3. And we just shot it, so it will come out hopefully in the fall.
Hmm.
And then I just uh I'm on this season of a show called American Horror Stories, which
I've
is
heard
like
of that.
an anthology series.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's it. That's it. I feel promoted.
So somebody somewhere, according to this, you're the main role. You're the main role, and okay. What's it like playing a starring role in your own show?
Great. Amazing. The best.
That is awesome. Do you get to do a lot? Assuming this is a comedy. Like I don't know this show, and I must apologize for that. But
That's okay.
is this a comedy show?
Yeah, it's sort of a dramedy, but yeah, it's
Do you
definitely
improvise? Because you're a comedian. Do you improvise in it?
we do improvise in it, yeah. Hmm. But it's not improv in the sort of typical way you think of improv. It's more improv s- that seems realistic. So it's like a show that's very grounded. So the improv is about making it sound more like you're actually hanging out with your friends than um, like trying to be outlandish or wild or anything like that. Yeah,
S- So between and you've done plays as well, haven't you?
I have. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. All right. So that's three different avenues you've gone down. Now, between doing plays, television, and movies, do you have a preference? And which one's the most difficult for you?
Hmm. Um, I love. I just love working, period. I love all three of them. I think. I think what's the most difficult? Um, the most difficult in my experience, uh, is playing a small role in a TV or film project because, like the ones that you've been interviewing me about, because when you have a large role, you can go to the director and say like, wait, I don't understand this. How do you want me to do that? You can really take your time with them and they'll explain things to you and really discuss it with you. But when you are a guest star in a TV show or a tiny role in a movie, you really kind of have to shut up and do what the director wants, and you have to sort of read what they want because they're not going to be able to explain it to you in a very in-depth process. So, and it's often like you only have 3 or 4 lines, and so you have to say them, like if you're the lead in a show and you mess up, it's funny and let's save it for the blooper reel. But if you're not a lead in the show and you mess up, then they're like, we could fire you. You're here to do this one thing, not do it. So I think that is definitely the hardest.
Okay.
And even when you're in a small role in a play or a musical or something, you you're still a part of the ensemble, and so you all feel equal, and you everybody's there for every day of rehearsal and every day of the show. So you get to know each other and you become sort of familial, but that's not the same with TV and film. So you'll often show up for your, for one day, and hopefully, nobody yells at you.
Hopefully, hopefully.
Exactly.
Do you have any web pages or charities or anything like that you'd like to plug and promote on here?
Oh, I don't have any charities. I like that. I like that you have that idea though. I'm on Instagram at Boom Boom Hiller. How about that?
Boom
Oh,
Boom Hiller.
oh wait, you're in Canada.
Yeah.
Uh, okay. Well, I have a stand-up show in DC and it's not selling well right now. So if anybody wants to come to my DC stand-up show at Union Stage on April 2nd, please come.
Yes, show some support, people. Stand up is awesome. You know,
That's right.
stand up is awesome. No, I
Exactly.
wish you well on that. I wish you well on that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It was wonderful having you come on here, and I thank you for coming on here and joining me and chatting about this movie. Um, I know it wasn't shot in Toronto, but it kind of reminds me of Toronto in a lot of ways
I
because,
get that. I get that.
yeah, because it's where I saw it,
Yeah.
and I always love it when I go there.
That's awesome.
So yeah, but we're going to close off in a moment because I know you got to run that restaurant and make sure that Chloe does not upset Isabel again.
That's right.
Yeah, you don't want to give her the pink slip.
No, not again.
Not again. Not again. Well, before I let you go, would you mind doing a plug for my show?
Sure, what do I have to say?
Just state your name and say you're listening to Greg Gilbert on Python's Paradise.
I'm Jeff Hiller, and you're listening to Greg Gilbert on Python's Paradise.
Yes, folks. So, Jeff Hiller, go see a stand-up. Where did you say that is again?
Well, I have a couple. Oh, the one that's not selling well is Washington, D.C., April 2nd at Union Stage.
Well, you know what? Maybe they're a tough crowd. Maybe they're a
Exactly.
yeah,
It's
maybe
the
they're a tough
nation's
crowd.
capital. They're busy running things.
There you go. Yeah, we don't have a whole lot. We're not laughing at a whole lot here in Canada right now. Speaking of politics,
Mm.
we're
Yeah,
not
really.
laughing at a whole lot right now. But nonetheless, I appreciate you coming on here today and allowing me the honor of having you as a guest on here.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And when this is ready, I'll send it out to you, and it'll be unlisted on YouTube for a bit. But when I do send it to you, you can post it anywhere you want to.
Okay, all of it. Awesome.
Uh, Absolutely. God bless you, and thank you so much for coming on here today.
Thanks, Greg. Have a great day.
You too. You take care.
Bye.
Bye bye.